Hello, friends, and welcome to the 5th episode of From the Van. It's a podcast from my van, where I have conversations with people who have relationships with residential vehicles. Today's episode features Molly Mandelberg. She's a marketing strategist, nomad, and all-around affable person. I met Molly slinging beers at a van life event. I talked to her for about 10 minutes before I invited her on the podcast. She's just that easy to talk to. So we're about to get into it. Just keep in mind that you can go to fromthevan.com or follow @fromthevan on Instagram to find all things From the Van. From the Van. I just had to say it one more time. Here comes episode 5. I hope you enjoy it. Thank you for listening. Talk to me. How long have you been in a van?
I've been living in a van for about a year. Actually, a year this week.
Okay.
I bought my van 14 months ago, and I've been nomadic for 11 years.
How does that work?
So I used to travel around in a Subaru, and I used to travel abroad in the winter, and I would live out of a backpack traveling around the world, and then I would come back and live out of a Subaru or visiting friends and family.
During the nice months? What kind of Subaru? Am I seeing
Subaru
like a
Legacy
hatchback?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I had a bed in there, but no kitchen or like livability really at all. And I would also like stay with friends and family. Once in a while I'd get a place. I think the longest I had my own apartment was 5 months when I lived in Austin in 2013.
Wow.
2013.
And you appear to be young to me. So this is
Thank you.
Most of your adult life that you've just been sort of like
since college.
Cruising around?
Yeah, I'm 30. I'm 33.
That's great.
Yeah. But the van is a huge fucking upgrade. I hope I
can... just like duffel bags and...
From bedroll in the back of a Subaru and having a rocket box with all my shit in it.
Yeah.
Cooking on a camp stove if I could find a place secluded enough. And now I have a kitchen and a sink and a giant queen-size bed that I love and all my stuff with me in storage under my bed. Yeah. That's
one of the things that's been so intoxicating to me. The reason I have such a small van is because I didn't anticipate enjoying living in a van. But I wanted to do it.
Yeah.
And so I got a van that was a size that like I could afford this payment and still keep my apartment or whatever. And then once it was done, I like moved into the van and I was like, fuck, I should have got a bigger van, you know, because like this is epic. It's so much fun. And like just being able to like even if it's something as simple as like, because I don't fuck around with like drinking and driving. I'm drunk in the van a lot.
Yeah.
But like the van hasn't been cranked for a while and it's not going to be cranked for a whole long time after that.
Right.
But like being able to go to little clusters of breweries and like live there that night.
Yeah.
Or, you know, if I have friends I want to visit, I just go and it's not an imposition for me to bring the dog.
No, you bring your guest house with you.
Or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Wait, so
I already knew I liked living on the road, and I already knew that being nomadic was my jam.
Yeah.
So the van was really just like, have an apartment now, Molly. Like,
so now you're a maximalist.
Right. Really, yeah. I upgraded.
Everybody else is like, oh, what do I have to get rid of? And all my sentimental objects. And you're like, oh, and now I get
to have all my
shit.
stuff with me. Yeah.
I get to shopping.
Keep it. Yeah, exactly. And I mean, at 6 years old, I wanted to have like a rainbow school bus to live in with a hammock and a kitchen and all this stuff. Like I was probably a merry prankster in another life. It's very likely.
Well, why? So what's your background that made you feel like
I was just a little hippie
Kim
kid?
Kesey is my person.
I don't know. I was just wanted to be someone who traveled. It was always something that I craved.
Was it instilled into you by your parents or something?
My parents my mom definitely took us traveling when I was very young. We went to Europe when I was like 3 years old for the first time. So traveling has always seemed easy to me because it was shown to me that it's something we can do, we know how to do. That was a huge gift. For sure. But even in the last 4 years, I started my business 4 years ago, and I was like, okay, Molly, now you're going to be a professional. You're going to have a real life. You're going to be doing stuff important. You got to settle down and figure out where you want to live. And I was like, no, I can't choose. I can't pick a place. I really do want to be everywhere. I want to be visiting my brother and his kids in Austin, my dad in Colorado, my mom's in Oregon, my business like community is in California. So I want to be in all those places and have the mobility and still feel like I'm at home. And so I decided not to choose a place and just invest in getting the van.
A mobile place.
Yeah, and it works.
Wait, where did you grow up?
I grew up in Oregon.
Okay.
Outside of Portland.
And what does or did your mom do?
My mom's a screenwriter.
Okay.
So she had an epic career in Hollywood. Not feature films, but she had a niche market. Before reality television existed, networks on television used to buy screenplays and make made-for-TV movies and, miniseries and TV specials. And that was her niche market. So reality television sort of killed her career. But before that, she had an epic life making movies. Yeah.
Rad. That's I don't know, maybe a little envious because this has been even later on because I'm 5 or 6 years older than you.
Yeah.
And it's been a struggle for me in terms of appearances and that sort of thing.
Right.
Even though I waded into it super responsibly and all of that.
Yeah.
And I'm no, I just fucking like this.
Some people don't get it, but the people who have seen it and look at van life, so many people follow this shit on Pinterest and Instagram and wish they could do it or try it or sample it. That those people get it. And then there's people who are you live in a van down by the river and you're if there's a river nearby, yeah, but no.
That joke is
it's old. It's old and tired. But the truth is, most of us are life changers, game changers. We're in this to build a dream, to follow our passions, to make something better in this world, not to be hoodlums who live in vans on the streets. Yeah. It's definitely got a bad taste for most people. But the truth is, so many of the van lifers that I've met that that we are inspiring, capable, professional people. Yeah. Making a living, making the world work differently.
So you have something that I want.
You're doing it, dude.
No. I'm not pitying myself. I'm trying to pay you a compliment.
I'll take it.
Because I'm fucking happy as I could. I'm as happy as I've ever been. Yeah. I think I could be happier, but I don't.
Always get better.
I don't need to be. You know, I'm happy as shit right now. But you have something that I want, which is a mobile job. You have to travel for your job.
I don't have to.
But you make your own arrangements and shit. Yeah.
Yeah, I teach workshops and classes all over the country.
So talk about it. What's it called? What's your deal?
Yeah, my business is called Wild Hearts Rise Up. I work with coaches, healers, and what I call aspiring thought leaders, people who know they have a message and a mission, who are on this earth to make a difference, and who, because they're so heart-centered and good at what they do, they suck at marketing. They don't want to talk about themselves. They don't want to promote themselves. They just want to do what they love to do, which is help people and heal people and change things. So I help them do all that crappy stuff, which is figure out what the words are, put the content together, create that course, create that program, create that webinar or that workshop, and develop the back-end systems to start building their lists so that they can have more autonomy in their lives. Anyone who goes into business for themselves is doing it because they want more freedom. They want to have a lifestyle they enjoy. They want to have time with their kids. They want to have the freedom to do what they want to do when they want to do it. And most of them get into business and realize, there's a shit ton of admin to do. And if you're trying to build a thought leader type business, you want to be an influencer, you want people to receive your message, you need to be building a shit ton of content, and you need to be doing that in as easy and streamlined of a way as possible. So I help people put those systems in place. I have a really blessed, thank God for my upbringing or my parents or their brains or their lineage, whatever. I have the logical systems technology brain, and I also have the creative, heart-centered, woo-woo wordsmithing brain. So I put those two together and help people do all of that shit and really get their message out there.
Okay. Well, I have a couple of questions.
Okay, go ahead.
Why? I hear...
It doesn't make sense until people are okay, now help me, and I'm okay, let's just put this together.
No. After having talked to you for 15 minutes earlier, I completely believe that you're really good at what you do. But my question, I guess, is I'm sitting on a good question, but I'm gonna ask you a worse one first.
Okay. Don't forget the other one.
I won't. Why is it that you can recognize that so many creative people suck at what they need to do to get their message out, but you're still okay with doing that work. You know what I mean? Like,
here's the thing.
Why do you're into logistics? You love logistics and shit?
I was a hypnotherapist when I started my business.
Okay.
So I was one of the healers, and I realized, number one, I'm tired of talking so slow and putting people into trance and doing the preamble part of the healing process. And so I was like, why don't I just become a coach? Like, I know so many coaches, like, I'll just do coaching. And then even as I started to find my niche as a coach, every time I would change my focus, I would develop a course, I would build out a bunch of email sequences, I would build in all this technology and back-end support system so that that business could flourish. And it never quite felt right. It didn't quite take off. And then I just got really good at that nerdy marketing back-end stuff. And I come from a writer. I come from a long lineage of teachers and preachers and people who know how to use words to like invoke change and emotion and power. And so I put those things together and started offering my services and helping my friends, other coaches and healers and people with a lot of heart who were not growing their businesses fast enough to support themselves, to set that shit up so they could have more freedom, so they could have more time.
Cool.
And then that just took off. And the more it took off, the more I realized, oh, this isn't what I want to do. This is what I want to do. And it just kept refocusing until I'm doing what I'm doing now.
Great.
And yeah.
So here's the other question.
Okay, what's the other question?
What do you suck at?
I suck at, I don't do anything I suck at because I like doing things that I rock at. I suck at golf, but I'm great at driving a golf cart.
Okay.
I suck at rock climbing, but I'd like to get better at it.
Right, but these are things that you suck at because you don't do them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, what in my business do I suck at? What's the question?
Well, so there's skill.
I'm not good at video yet.
There's skill.
I do it all the time.
There's skill and there's talent. Right? And talent is something that you don't have to necessarily, if you have the talent, you don't necessarily have to spend a whole lot of time learning the skill.
So I guess,
but if you're inherently bad, well, I guess what I'm asking is, because I'm so impressed by what you're good at.
I'm really good at a lot of things. That's the problem with me. I know. But here's the thing. I also have the drive. Like, I have more stamina to learn something than most people have. And that's why I'm in the business I'm in. Because most people don't want to learn it. They want someone to do it for them. And I'm that person.
Right.
Because I am interested enough in how things work and how things should be said that I will work myself like 80 hours a week sometimes to just nerd out and understand something. And nobody needs to, not all of us don't need to nerd out on the same things. I'll go nerd out on this and help you with that. And, you know, other things, what am I not good at? I'm trying to think. I'm working on who I be in relationships, who I be in connection with others, how vulnerable I'm willing to be in partnership and collaboration and teams. Like, I am such a doer and a go-getter that I work better alone. So figuring out how I can be better in partnerships and collaborations is definitely something I focus on, or I'm focusing on, or I should focus on. That's something I'm not great at.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's a vulnerable answer.
Okay.
So I'm proud of you.
I'm working on that. Yeah.
Well, so you live in a half-built out Sprinter.
It's mostly built.
You're
it just doesn't have drawers yet.
I haven't been in it, so what's going on in there?
It's dope. It's fucking awesome.
Okay.
We'll get some B-roll of it on this video if you guys are watching the video. But yeah, it's beautiful. I built it all myself. Even when I had my dad helping me, he wouldn't cut anything or screw anything.
You're just sort of supervising?
Yeah, he would hold things while I'd screw things.
Cool.
I don't know if he was doing it because he didn't want to be the one fucking it up, or if he really wanted me to be able to say I did it all.
He was empowering you.
Right. We'll assume that. But yeah, pretty much everything is done. There's a sink, there's a stove, there's just no fridge yet, so I'm living out of a Yeti cooler for the most part. And then I have all the space under the counter and all the space under the bed is going to be built-in drawers and cabinets and stuff, but that's not done yet. I have 400 watts of solar on the roof, 310 amp hours of battery, and 3 outlets. So I'm using AC and DC. I have a 2,000 watt inverter with 6,000 surge, I think. So that can run the Vitamix, and tons of overhead storage and bookshelves. I'm a reader and a writer, so I like to have lots of books with me wherever I go.
Vitamix is the shit.
It is.
I've never owned one, but I bought one for a girl once, and then we broke up, and I was kind of like, man, why'd I do that? I should have just got it for me.
Yeah, that sucks, but that's what happens.
Did you hear my fucking rant or diatribe about this thing?
I'm just
earlier?
learning about the Instapot.
Holy shit.
Tell me.
Do you eat meat?
Yeah.
Do you want some food?
I'm not hungry right now,
okay.
But thank you.
So I'm from South Carolina originally, and every culture has its own chicken and rice dish, but ours is called chicken bog, and it's traditionally just like a bunch of spices and chicken broth, and then chicken and rice and sausage.
I definitely want to try it before
hot link
I leave.
sausage.
Yeah.
Well, I made a shit ton of it today, and everybody here is vegan, and so nobody's eating any of it.
There's so many vegan van lifers. We respect you. It's okay. But we'll cook
and it's
bacon
easier
tomorrow.
too, dude. If you're like a raw vegan or some shit like that, like you wouldn't need a refrigerator, right? You could just like
keep it all on the shelf, put it in some water. You're
so
fine.
I mean that's the dream, but this shit is dank.
Yum.
But anyway, it's another one of those dishes that's like it's like an old school slow cooker recipe.
Yeah.
That takes for all day to make, or whatever. And even when my dad would make it in a pot, it would take him 3 or 4 hours to make it.
How fast did you do it in the Instant Pot?
I did it from dry everything to done in 40 minutes.
Dude, that's what I'm hearing about the Instapot. It's like, you think it takes 20 minutes to make rice? It could take 5 minutes.
Well, rice takes... So, a lot of people report on the time that the pressure cooker setting is on.
Yeah.
And so you set it to pressure cook for 10 minutes or whatever, but it takes it 10 minutes to get the pressure.
Okay.
And then, depending on the release method that you have, it might be another 15 or 20 minutes, too.
Okay, but still, it
so,
maximizes the process.
Dude, black beans start to finish is 50 minutes. And normally, if you start with dry black beans, you gotta, like, soak them overnight, rinse them, blah, 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 and then cook them for an hour or two on the stove. I used to do that all the time. And you can do that from start to finish in 50 minutes in here.
Damn.
And the other thing is, it's a wonderful thing for normal people, but van life people, like, it's the closest thing to an oven that I'm ever going to have in a space this size.
Somebody was just selling these in the raffle today. There was a stovetop oven that I want to look at the box. I don't know if I need one, but at least find out what's up with that, because that's a pretty cool thing to have. I just bought a teeny tiny rice cooker, so I've been making like rice, but that works as yeah, it's so small. It's like a personal size.
That's one of the
But
things.
It's enough for leftovers still. Yeah.
We freak out about like all the cute little shit that we can have in the van. It's like my kettle is like barely larger than this jar.
Everything's personal size. Yeah, including the fridge.
Yeah. So what's your outlook on the future in terms of like, I mean, it sounds like your business is going super well.
It is.
But do you have ambitions to like
grow it bigger?
Well, no, not even your business. Like, let that do what it will, and I mean, yeah, blow up. But like, if your business is going well, then you have even more options in terms of like living the traditional American dream or getting the fuck out of Dodge and going to another place.
Do you mean like 2.5 kids and like buying property? Okay, I have three.
Yeah, all of those questions.
I have three answers to your question.
Yeah, okay.
Number one is when I switched from being a hypnotherapist who could serve one person at a time to being the person empowering the coaches and healers to serve their people, my ripple effect of how much my work can impact the world multiplied.
That sounds gratifying.
Yeah, so that is fucking awesome. And if I'm helping the people who are helping people, then that's just exponentially increased my impact on the world. Number two is, yes, I have a vision of the future. If my ideal world were to occur, my business would grow to the point where it was more and more and more automated. I had more of a team to do the work that I'm doing right now. I would still be the creator and the face of the company and do speaking gigs and workshops and retreats all over the world. I led my first international retreat in Thailand last February.
Oh, cool.
A year ago February, which was fucking awesome. So I would do more of that stuff, more big events and traveling and speaking, and have my team running more of the back end business and the one-on-one support for people. And if that were the case and money was just even more abundant, I would keep the van. That would still be my mode of transport across the country. But I would definitely buy property and have my own retreat center and off-grid, veggie farm and all that stuff. Organic living, sustainable life. Cool. Solar energy, water on property, that kind of thing. So that's one vision. But my vision for the world is the more of these people that we empower, that I support in helping, the more we can shift the paradigm. I believe in a world where people like Trump can't hold power anymore because all of us who really care about the planet have put our money where our mouth is and made the change that we believe is possible, and that we can live in harmony with each other and the earth and stop experiencing school shootings and drought and death and poverty. And I think that that's possible. And I'd like to say that's possible in our lifetimes.
I hope so. Wait, did you have a third answer to the question?
That was my third answer.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, I'm super interested in the outlook of the van life community because I hear so much variability. I think I'm hearing so much variability in the answer to this question. Do you think that van life is a solution to anything? Do you think that it...
Personally, yes.
For you?
Globally, no.
Okay.
Yeah. Because as much as I'd like to think I'm not leaving a carbon footprint, I drive a diesel engine and I drive it a lot. So, my life is sustainable in the fact that I'm not... ripping things up. I'm definitely buying organic food. I'm definitely promoting things that I believe wholeheartedly are making a difference. And it costs gas to keep my house on alive. I could park it and not pay gas and my solar would sustain me for sure. But the nature of living on wheels is you tend to use those wheels and move around. So sustainability wise, I don't know that that's the future. I have written a novel in my life. It's not published yet, but hopefully if you're watching this, it will be published eventually. And it was the concept that nomads like us, when the world falls apart and the apocalypse happens, that maybe people who have been living nomadically like this are actually most ready to exist in a world post-grid, because we already know how to make community with each other at the drop of a hat and be in connection with other human beings. So in that way, I think we are part of building the village that civilization has lost with the rise of technology and industrial revolution. I think that we really are bringing back that community vibe that has been lost the more that we've discommunicated with each other.
So growing up in the South, we had this stereotype of New York that everybody's angry and pissed off and a complete dick to anybody that they run into.
My dad's from New York too.
And I moved to New York and I was like, oh, these people aren't bad at all.
Depends on who you talk to, yeah.
And then I moved, and the way I think of it is people in New York are curt. They're
short because they're efficient.
But that's no more ugly than people being polite as a result of obligation and etiquette, which is the Southern overcorrection of that thing, right? It's like in the South, if I'm in the neighborhood and I live there and I wave at you and you're driving by and you don't wave back, I'm like, who the fuck is that?
Right.
Who's encroaching on my space? Whereas in New York, it's like, the fuck do you want? Oh, you're cool. It's like, and then I moved out to Southern California, and I actually blame this on cars. I think that people, specifically in Southern California, but a lot of the United States, are sequestered into their home and then their car and then everybody else they interact with during the day is like a transactional interaction. And it's so interesting to me going to this community meeting at the event that we were at today, and seeing some people saying, I feel isolated by being in the van, but then at the same time, the overwhelming feeling at this event is that
we're all together.
Yeah, it's like everybody I walk by is genuinely interested in whatever the fuck I want to say to them.
Yeah.
You know? And
it might be because they all live alone, but no. You are interesting. No, really.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Oh, we're starving for attention, all of us.
But so what's the question? Is that are we like that for a reason? Or is it because we've isolated ourselves from the civilizations that have been impacting us other ways?
I think that our quote-unquote civilization has been isolating us. You know, we're perpetuating this isolation, right, sort of unwittingly, you know? And it's curious to me that this nomadic lifestyle could potentially be, certainly...
It can be both. It can be a way that we isolate ourselves from civilization to get back to who we really are. It can also be a place that we seclude ourselves so we don't have to cope with reality. And it can also be that it's the one way we can get back out into community.
I guess that's what I'm saying, is that, like, because I live in, I haven't even measured it, but fucking, what is this, 70, 80, 100 square feet? Because I 60. Live in 60 square feet, I'm outside all day.
Yeah.
And so...
You're out meeting people and interacting.
Unlike somebody who lives in an Orange County gated community.
Right.
I'm interacting with people all the time, you know? Like,
and getting influenced and impacted by them.
Yeah. And I think that's a positive thing. You know?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, and I think that's one of the beautiful things, like, I'll definitely plug Van Life app and the Van Life app gathering.
Oh, that's the meeting, that's the gathering that we're at
That's
right
where
now.
we currently are and that where we have met today.
Yeah.
Because they see that's the thing. They went out and saw that living van life, they were feeling isolated and we needed a better way to connect. And so they created an avenue for us to connect more easily as we're traveling on the road. Like, sure, in San Diego, it's fucking easy to meet van lifers and be in community and culture like that.
Because they're everywhere.
And if you're in Montana, like, you're probably not going to see a van for a while. Like, you might see a DHL van or a FedEx van that looks like yours, or I forget what kind of van we're in right now, but you probably might see some minivans on the road, but they're probably not inhabited the way that these are out here. So to be able to find your people all over the place, that's pretty awesome. I was going to build an app before I realized Van Life app was happening, but I'm glad I don't have to now because they've set it up. But yeah, you are by nature going to be out in the world interacting with other humans more frequently, because otherwise you're in this tiny little space by yourself. Personally, I'm an ambivert. Like, I love being around people and I love talking to people, and I get totally lit up by that. And I also get so much more done and so much more inspired to create when I'm alone. So I don't get bored. I don't get lonely. I like being by myself. I just took myself to Big Sur for 2 whole days, and you would not believe how much shit I got done.
That's great.
But not everybody has that hobby or side hustle or ambition when they're by themselves. Some people need to be around other people for their mental health. And that's why... Well,
and you probably do too, but you're so
level,
good at it that you can take time off from it.
I like
too,
both.
Right?
I really do thrive on both. Yeah. And luckily I've set my life up to have a lot of both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you struggling with right now?
What am I struggling with?
I'm just going to ask you an open-ended question and let you...
What am I struggling with right now? I honestly, I don't want to sound like an asshole, but I'm rocking in so many ways right now. I practice something called Access Consciousness, which is a set of tools. I was doing energy work. I did 6 sessions on people today for free, just giving out energy work sessions. But Access Consciousness is like law of attraction on steroids. It's like a kind of magic where you can tap into the potency you truly be and like create your life as an orgasmic living experience like nothing else you thought was possible. And the more I dig into those tools and play with that magic, the better my life gets. So I could scrounge for something that's not working right now, but really, my biggest struggle is I'm having too much fun to keep track of my meditation practice or my daily morning pages practice. I write in bed every morning and I write in bed every night. And just keeping that habit in place is my biggest struggle. Mm-hmm. And even when I'm not doing that, it's because I'm out here interacting with good people. Cheers. And having fun and communicating and connecting.
I feel like you're so much more like focused than I am, you know? I have the last problem that you were talking about to the nth degree. It's like, for me,
it's hard to have a rhythm in a van.
If there are people, no, and this has nothing to do with the van.
Right.
Like this is
good to recognize that.
This is me at my core. Is it like what I excel at is fucking hanging out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if I'm drinking, if it's 8:00 in the morning and I have an opportunity to hang out with somebody that inspires and entertains me, then I'm gonna do fucking nothing else. You know what I mean? Like, right. I want to hang out with my dog and I want to hang out with cool people. And like, that's the pinnacle for me. And so in terms of like getting things done or whatever, that's my trouble is like, I don't really.
And immediately my brain is like, how can we make that work for you? How can we make that be what your livelihood is about? Because there's a niche market for anything.
Yeah.
Like, if that's what you're good at, be the guy who throws the party.
Sounds like a lot of work, man.
Well, be the guy who hires the guys who throws the party.
Yeah. Yeah. When I was younger and cuter, I should have been a club promoter or something like that.
I think what you're doing is really important, though. I mean, I said that to you earlier. Being an advocate for companies and nonprofits who are making a difference in the world is one of the best things you could be doing.
Yeah, I'm proud of the work that I do, but a lot of times I get caught up in like feeling sad that everything isn't fixed. Like we were saying earlier when we were talking, is like, you were saying that like I just don't even want to engage with the news because I have a vision of positivity and the way that the world could be.
Well, for those of you listening who weren't part of that conversation earlier, that I believe our energetic like alignment and inner compass has as much of an impact as our actions do most of the time.
Certainly.
So if you can find a place of good feeling and positive intention for the future, that is helping. If that's all you can muster, then that is helping. And for me, if I pay attention to all of the news and all of the bullshit that's going on all of the time, my alignment and my energetic like boost of energy and good feeling intention for the future drops. Mm-hmm. And that is, in my opinion, not my way of contributing to the future.
Right.
So for me, it doesn't look like watching the news. It looks like believing in the best possible outcome and putting my money where my mouth is. Like I said, I support causes I believe in. I buy groceries from businesses that I know have good intentions. And I put my money where my mouth is. I vote with my dollars because that's one of the biggest energetic exchanges we have in this universe. I mean, in this reality right here on Earth. So that's how I get by. Mm-hmm. And it's fucking hard. If you're paying attention to the news, if you're watching all the bullshit that's going on in politics, it's bound to get you down. And it's harder to believe in a future that's bright and sunshiny.
Yeah.
But we're going to get through this. And if we don't get through this, the planet will get through this eventually. So that's another...
Oh yeah, it's a zero-sum game. Dude. Yeah, we made ethics up.
Right,
you know, like
we invented this shit.
Yeah, dude. When a tiger kills a fucking bunny, there's no exchange of morals or ethics or anything. You know,
no,
and when the
natural.
sun explodes and we are all, if we last that long, we're all extinct. There's not like a negative negative ethical impact on
it's net zero for sure. Yeah, it'll be fine. Yeah. So what is reality anyway? That's what it comes back to. And if reality is just energy and perception, then our energy and perception is the only thing that really matters. So what do you want to do with that?
True.
And that's why I try to keep the high flying disc, good feeling vibes up, it's actually not fake. You can actually live an orgasmic living experience all of the time, and that can be your reality, but most people won't choose it because it's not comfortable. They're used to something different. It's edgy shit.
Yeah.
It's out on the edge of like nothingness.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're having some deep and meaningful conversations in this minivan right now.
Hey, it's not mini, it's mid-size.
Minivans are vans too, motherfuckers.
Minivans are the first
mid-size.
vans, man.
I like how you said that.
Wait. Oh, I had a thing to say before this got weird. Oh, well, how about this though? It's like you're talking about being on the precipice or teetering on the edge of nothingness, right?
Everything and nothing
are the same,
yeah,
right? Because they're both extremes and neither of them exists.
Non-duality, yeah.
Right. And just to bring it back way more down to earth in terms of like the whole like positivity and intentions versus like pragmatism and politics. It's like, where do you find the balance between caring about current events but getting in the weeds or staying out of the weeds enough to not be bogged down and like stressed out?
It sounds shitty to say it out loud, but I err on the side of ignorance. I would rather not know the current events to keep the high-flying disc because of what I know energetically is possible through intention and what I know I can't do about most of those current events.
Right.
So I used to canvass door to door for environmental politics. I believe that there are ways we can change the system from within, and I will fund the people I believe are capable of that, and then I will not pay attention to what they're doing. Because my energy is best spent focusing on what lights me up.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, what lights me up is my way of changing the future.
Yeah.
And that I am steadfastly focused on that.
Good.
Yeah. And I'll fucking meditate. I'll fucking wake up and I'll write my thoughts out of my head into a journal to get them out of my brain so I can focus on just good energy. Whatever the fuck I have to do to create the vibe that I know will change the world. That's what I'm going to do. And I will support people who are creating more people like that. That's what I do every day.
Cool. I envy your aim.
I'm passionate about it. You can have it too.
But it seems so. I'm just so scattered, and
scattered doesn't have to be forever. It could be the old way that it used to be. And what if it could be easy? What if we could change on a dime at the drop of a hat just by choice?
Well, I mean, I think that I think that theoretically and ethically, I agree with what you're saying, but I'm also scared that
if you're not paying attention, it'll all fall apart.
If you're not paying attention, you won't know which direction to pivot. You know what I mean? Because, like, if we were all just happy, that would be cool. But what does that mean?
If we were all happy and actively supporting things we knew were moving in the right direction, then that would really help, I think.
Yeah.
I think when the emotion gets the best of us and it sucks us into a hole, we're useless.
But that's the emotion is the tool that that a lot of people use, whether I agree with their end game or not. Emotion is the tool that a lot of people use to get people to think that this is the right tack to take, right? And at the same time, emotion is super useful, right?
Oh, totally. Yeah. If we let it, I mean, it can get the better of us really easily, though.
Well, what does that mean?
I mean, like, all that propaganda that, like, Trump's people are hooked on and caught up on. Anyone who watches Fox News is, like, addicted to the emotional roller coaster that program puts on for you.
Well, and all the media, even the people that we half agree with or maybe half agree with or whatever, it's still all sensational, emotional.
It's sensational, exactly.
Messaging.
So as long as we're in emotion and sensation, we're basically distracting ourselves from truth, in my opinion. And if we could just get down to, like, brass tacks, what's real, what's true for me, what do I know in my gut is right, and move from that place, we would live in a much different world if people were moving from knowing rather than from emotional roller coastering.
What do you do when you take a day off?
What I do... When I take a day off, I write like a motherfucker.
So you don't take a day off?
I make art. I do yoga. I go for walks. I meditate. I do a lot more self-care on a day off, but it still includes a lot of writing and a lot of art.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Like, I just took 2 days off in Big Sur, and I outlined my next book. I finished the Oracle deck book for an Oracle deck I've been working on for a year and a half. I finished like 8 sales emails for a program I'm launching that I just launched last week, and I wrote 2 emails for another client, and I was like, oh my god, that was the best day off ever.
Molly,
I did this all sitting on a cliff in Big Sur in my van, looking out over the ocean. This is an intervention. No.
And that was not a day off.
You cannot stop me. I can't be stopped. Today was a day off, and I worked, I did six energy work sessions on people, and I worked...
And when I got you were...
volunteering at the bar for an hour.
Working the bar.
That was a day off. I was playing all day.
Oh, man. I am such a piece of shit.
No, you're not. I'm insanely aggressive with my life.
I know. That's cool.
But it's fun.
That's cool. Where are you going to go when you leave Nukuyama?
Tomorrow or the next day.
Stay here.
Shh, don't tell anyone.
And by the time this gets out, you will have done it or you will have been evicted.
Yeah, we'll let you know later. But I'm going to pretend to pack up and then maybe stay here another night. But I'm going to LA. I'm flying to Vancouver, BC on Thursday. I'm going to be in an Access Consciousness class there called I Am Beauty with Cassie Summers and Sarah Grandinetti, who are Access Consciousness facilitators. Then I'll come back to LA and get the van, drive up to San Jose for another transformational leadership type workshop that I'm attending, not leading. Then I'll come back to Portland, fly to Florida, take the transatlantic cruise writing retreat with my mom to London. We're going to see 11 plays in 7 days in London. And then I'll come back to Oregon and then go to Idaho and Colorado.
Sounds relaxing.
A lot of fun things planned.
Very cool. Good. Well,
can I tell people where to find me?
No plugs on this podcast, of course, dude.
All the links will be in the description.
No, they won't. Yeah, they will.
If he gets around to it.
Yeah. We'll see how I feel when it comes time. Yeah. Where can people find you?
Yeah, my website is wildheartsriseup.com. Hearts has an S, so wildheartsriseup.com. If you happen to be a warrior goddess entrepreneur or a thought leader of any kind, you can go to wildheartsriseup.com/quiz and check out my quiz that I've built, which I'm really proud of. I also help people make those kind of lead magnets and quizzes like that. So check it out, see if you like it. Or my podcast is called Tactical Magic. It's on iTunes and all those other apps. And on Instagram, I'm wild_1ONE_rising. Right on. Yeah. Are you sure you don't want any chicken bog? I want to try it. I think you should give me a bite of it. Yeah, is it spicy enough? It's a little spicy. Okay, I want a bite. Okay. Are we done recording? Yeah, I think so. Thanks for watching. Bye. Ladies and gentlemen, that was episode 5 of From the Van. If you made it this long, I really appreciate you listening. It was great talking to Molly. Such a pleasure to meet her. Visit her at wildheartsriseup.com. You can come and visit us
at fromthevan.com. And I hope you enjoyed the episode. We'll have another one for you next week.